The perspective: see differently, live intentionally. Introduction: the information age and the crisis of enlightenment. We live in a paradoxical age. Humanity has never possessed more information, yet it often appears to possess less wisdom. Never before have so many people had access to so much knowledge at so little cost. Within seconds, a student in Kigali can access lectures from the world's leading universities. A farmer can obtain weather forecasts from a satellite orbiting thousands of kilometers above the Earth. And a business leader can retrieve decades of research from a device that fits into a pocket. The barriers that once separated individuals from the information have largely collapsed. Yet, despite this unprecedented abundance, a profound unease persists. Across societies, many people struggle to find meaning in their lives. Organizations collect vast quantities of data but often lack direction. Universities generate remarkable volumes of research while facing growing questions about their ability to cultivate wisdom, character, and purpose. Communities become increasingly connected through technology while simultaneously experiencing fragmentation, mistrust, and isolation. Individuals consume more information than any generation before them, yet many feel overwhelmed, distracted, uncertain, and disconnected from themselves and from one another. The challenge of our time is therefore not a scarcity of information. It is the inability to transform information into understanding, understanding into wisdom, and wisdom into meaningful action. For centuries, human progress was constrained by limited access to knowledge. Libraries were rare, books were expensive, education was reserved for a privileged few. The pursuit of knowledge was itself a difficult endeavor. Today, however, knowledge is abundant. The challenge has now shifted. The question is no longer whether information can be accessed, the question is whether it can be interpreted wisely. The digital revolution has fundamentally altered the human condition. Information flows continuously through screens, notifications, algorithms, and platforms. We are informed about events happening across the globe within moments of their occurrence. We are exposed to countless opinions, perspectives, and narratives. We live in an environment where attention has become one of the most valuable commodities and where competing voices continuously seek to influence how we think, what we believe, and how we act. In such an environment, knowledge alone is insufficient. Knowledge can inform, but it cannot decide. Knowledge can illuminate, but it cannot direct. Knowledge can reveal possibilities, but it cannot determine purpose. Purpose emerges from something deeper, emerges from perspective. Perspective, then, is the bridge between what we know and how we live. It is the light through which information becomes understanding, experience becomes meaning, and reality becomes actionable. Perspective shapes how we interpret success and failure, opportunity and adversity, certainty and uncertainty. It determines whether challenges become obstacles or invitations, whether setbacks become defeats or lessons, and whether knowledge remains theoretical or becomes transformative. This book begins with the conviction that humanity is experiencing not merely an information crisis, but a perspective crisis. We are surrounded by facts, yet often disconnected from understanding. We possess extraordinary technological capabilities, but yet remain uncertain about the direction in which those capabilities should be applied. We have become increasingly skilled at answering questions while becoming less certain about which questions truly matter. The result is a growing gap between advancement and enlightenment. Advancement refers to our increasing ability to do things. Enlightenment refers to our increasing ability to understand why those things should be done. Modern civilization has achieved extraordinary advancement. Scientific breakthroughs continue to reshape medicine, communication, transportation, and artificial intelligence. Organizations operate across continents. Universities produce discoveries at unprecedented rates. Communities are linked through networks that span the globe. Yet, advancement without enlightenment risks becoming directionless. A society may become wealthier without becoming wiser. An organization may become more efficient without becoming more purposeful. A university may become more productive without becoming more transformative. An individual may become more successful without becoming more fulfilled. The question facing humanity is therefore not whether we can continue to advance. The question is whether we can advance meaningfully. To answer that question, this book introduces a framework called perspective realism. Perspective realism emerges from a dialogue between two philosophical traditions that are often viewed as fundamentally different. These are Stoicism and existentialism. Stoicism teaches us to confront reality honestly. It reminds us that much of life lies beyond our control and that wisdom begins with accepting reality as it is rather than wishing it to be otherwise. The Stoics emphasized character, resistance, resilience, responsibility, and virtue. They believe that inner freedom arises when individuals focus their energy on what they can influence rather than what they cannot. Existentialism begins from a different concern. It asks what humanity beings should do with the freedom they possess. Existential thinkers emphasized authenticity, responsibility, choice, and meaning. They argue that meaning is not discovered fully formed in a word but is created through conscious engagement with life. At glance, these traditions appear to move in opposite directions. Stoicism emphasizes acceptance, existentialism emphasizes creation. Stoicism begins with reality, existentialism begins with freedom. Yet beneath these differences lies a remarkable common ground. Both traditions reject passivity, both insist upon personal responsibility, both acknowledge uncertainty, both recognize suffering as an unavoidable feature of life, both challenge individuals to engage consciously with existence. Perspective realism seeks to unite these insights into a framework suited for the challenges of the 21st century. It begins with a simple proposition. Reality must be respected, meaning must be created, action must be intentional, impact must be measured, legacy must be considered. Human flourishing emerges when individuals, organizations, universities, and communities learn to connect these principles in a coherent and responsible manner. For individuals, perspective realism offers a pathway toward greater clarity, purpose, and intentional living. It encourages people to move beyond reaction and toward conscious engagement with reality. For organizations, it provides a framework for navigating uncertainty, fostering innovation, and aligning performance with purpose. For universities, it challenges the assumption that education is merely the transfer of knowledge and argues that the cultivation of wisdom must remain a central mission. For communities, it highlights the importance of trust, dialogue, shared meaning, and collective responsibility in an increasingly fragmented world. This book is therefore not merely a philosophical exploration, it is an invitation. An invitation to think differently, an invitation to question assumptions, an invitation to engage reality honestly while refusing to surrender the human capacity for meaning, creativity, and transformation. Most importantly, it is an invitation to see differently and live intentionally, because the future will not belong simply to those who possess the most information. It will belong to those who can transform information into perspective, perspective into wisdom, wisdom into action, and action into enduring impact. In an age overflowing with knowledge, yet searching for meaning, that may be the most important challenge of all. And it is from that challenge that this book begins.